What's going on, people of the world? Welcome back. It is Reap the Harvest live Momentum Monday. Doesn't get any bigger than this, folks. We're going to be talking about limiting beliefs. Matty Matt is in the house. He's just been a traveling business guru the last couple of weeks, dominating the entire country. Just kidding. He's been in Tampa the whole time. We'll be right back after this intro to dial in on limiting beliefs. What up, Matt? How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you?
I can't complain. Can't complain. And if I did, it wouldn't change anything. Things are good. Staying busy. And you've been a busy man. Why don't you break down what you're up to today?
Oh man, I actually had to, which I don't like this because I'm actually trying to break out my time. I'm truly doing a lot of time allocation, but I had to adjust my schedule because I have a pretty important meeting at 2:00 today. So I had to adjust it just because it was a priority meeting. So today I got a meeting, and then tomorrow I'm heading out to my apartments. I actually just got a meeting with one of the other general partners. We're talking about kind of the future vision and how we're landscaping and kind of positioning and basically creating a vision for the exit with the end in mind to reposition and allocate some monies in the Southeast again. So we were just had some things going on this morning. Got to have breakfast with my wife, which was awesome. And dude, it's so we dropped the kids off at my sister's house last night. So we got to chill together, be together, reflect on some things, and kind of set our strategies and goals going forward. But it's just a good time to reflect, a good time to just be present and be grateful. Limiting beliefs was just a big thing kind of to me, because it goes through some of the just as you set your goals, visions, right? You're almost like setting them too small in ways. So I'm just thinking, I set my 10, I wanted to get really super concrete about my 10-year vision. Because if you think about it and you put things like, I'm going to be 45 in 10 years, what does 45 look like? When you say that out loud, my kid's going to be 14. My oldest is going to be 14. My middle is going to be 12. My, 10-month-old is going to be 10. And what does that look like? And when you future cast for them, like, what is, I even asked my wife this today, right? What can I do today? I don't know why this even popped up. It's kind of crazy and it came out, but I was looking at my little girl and I'm like, dude, what can I do today that would not allow her to get hooked on heroin or something like that? I know that's crazy to even think, right?
Not really. I mean, honestly, it's not crazy to think. I disagree. I've thought about that stuff too. What am I doing today that's going to provide the future that I want? And if I limit myself to thinking anything like that is crazy, you're limiting your ability to control it. So I don't think that's crazy.
Right. But I mean, it's more so, and I know everything is hinged on, we had one of our previous podcasts, right? It was on discernment, right? Mm-hmm. And just being really, really quality, strong decision makers. And that's one of the things that I was thinking as far as limiting beliefs. What you're looking to do is aid or cover up or mask something instead of creating as an opportunity. I think everything has an opportunity in it and within it. But a lot of people just say, man, this is a little too uncomfortable. This is a little too difficult. And then treat it as, oh, this is my limiting belief. This is where I have to I got to suppress this, or I got to cover this, or I got to mask this. And I want to what I'm doing trying today. Number one, I pray over my girls because the spiritual comes first, right? Health comes second, and then finances come third. But what am I doing like today that would like breathe into them a level of confidence and like true like solid decision making that is going to perpetrate them at like 13, 12, 13, 14 years old, that they're going to be like, no, like I'm not going to hang around that person. I need to level up, and not trying to like not build maybe up another person. I want them to build up others around them. But I want them to be really, really strong decision makers in the way they process things, right? And one of the things why I had to pivot today and even like redirect my schedule, because I was actually supposed to go out to one of our assets in Michigan, but there was another guy that I was like, dude, that's a priority. I have to make that meeting a priority, and that was my went through my decision making. Like if I go out to there today, I'm going to miss this meeting with this guy, and then I'm not going to be around on Thursday. He had today and Thursday. I got to prioritize. I got to make that meeting happen because he's going to move the needle forward, right?
Right.
So it's one of those things where I don't like that decision making process of and then of like, hey, he allows me to level up. He allows me to take things to another level, and I need him in my life. And so like identifying those people that are going to add a zero to your bottom line, maybe in a spiritual, maybe in a financial way, maybe, it just all.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to add a zero, folks. So it doesn't necessarily mean financial. Obviously you want people that are going in a certain trajectory as you are with finances as well, too. Here's the thing, man. You can make friends with everybody, and that's great. But like you're talking about, if you're hanging out with people that have a limited belief in a financial area, how successful are you going to be in that area? Because that's the information that you're digesting or downloading. I always use my nerdy computer terms because they work with my mindset. But if I'm downloading all kinds of information that says, hey, this is a lot, and maybe it's not that much, maybe there's not enough zeros there, and I think that for too long, well, then I automatically begin to think that that's okay, or that's a limit I'm putting on myself. If I say, hey, 10K a month is a lot, and I'm happy just there, well, then how am I ever going to get to 20 or 30 or 40 or 50?
Yeah, no, for sure.
In any area of life. Oh, well, I lost 10 pounds, so I might as well just eat like shit for the rest of the week. It's like, no, your goal was 40 pounds. So you want to go 20, 30, 40. Your goal is to go an entire lifetime with your wife. So your goal needs to be, how can I improve every week, every month to understand what I'm doing right or wrong and try and fix these things. So these are all, you're adding zeros in all different categories.
Yeah, I guess it more so is like, with the limiting belief concept is setting the vision, casting the vision, right? But being present in the daily, in the small things, because doing a lot of small things will eventually lead to big results.
Totally.
Doing a lot of the small things right will eventually lead to bigger results down the road. And so we were like, I'm vision casting like 10 years out, saying, hey, I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to be like. This is how do I want my life to, play out in the next 10 years. But really, ultimately, what I'm really saying, hey, what decisions do I need to make today?
What habits do I need to build? What tasks do I need to include in my to-do list? Right.
But but don't let the limiting beliefs that you can't be there, right? I got asked a question. This is kind of wild, but one of our whole goals, because family is just so important to us, is that we want to spend May, June, July in Michigan, right? I want to, like, when the kids are out of school, like I want to live in Florida. I love Tampa, Florida. I never want to leave Tampa, Florida. But how can I have the best of both worlds? Because Michigan summers are like, doesn't get better, right? We were up north, we do this, we do that, but we want to live in Michigan, May, June, July. So how do I make that happen, right? And I got asked this weekend because we were, obviously we in Michigan, and you're like, oh, that's cool. When are you going to be able to do this again? And I'm like, nah, next year? Like what? Like I don't have to wait till I'm like 60 to start spending, summers in Michigan. Like, why not next year? Why not the year after that? Like, what decisions do I need to make today that would allow me to fulfill my, like, I don't want to wait till I'm 60 to then enjoy, living on the water, and so Kelly and I were talking about, we were just like sitting down at breakfast, and we want to have the ability to obviously own real estate and the Gulf of Mexico, even though it's only 45 minutes from our home in Tampa. Like whenever somebody comes down, I want to have a beach house. Like I want to just be like, hey, let's go to the beach house this weekend. You know what I mean? Those are the like wants, needs, desires, but it has to be for something, right? It's not for personal gain or personal, like really even personal wealth. It's really to even build and cultivate even more relationships, how to utilize those relationships. I mean, and that's ultimately, but like casting that vision, right? Articulating that and writing it down, really perpetrating what decisions can I make today that can influence and direct those steps, right? 10 years from now.
Yeah. And the other thing you've done is, like you said, about to-do lists and actions and mindsets and all this kind of stuff that goes into making those things a reality. You now have skill sets that can help you cash flow a property like that. Whether it's an Airbnb tactic or whether it's a renting out one or two of the rooms, like you room hacked that one house or whatever it was called, room hacked or whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, dude, those kinds of tactics and strategies are ways to potentially maybe cover the mortgage or do this or do that or do the other thing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm not buying anything on the beach where I can't buy like a small apartment complex or something like that, where we can just we can have our basically a little like Airbnb, but I have an apartment complex that basically pays the mortgage on that, or
Right.
It's multiple doors. My model is always multiple doors now. We don't do the house hacking thing anymore. That is a good, very, very good, very good starter.
I thought it was solid. I had even a couple friends message me and be like, dude, when we were getting started, that worked.
Yeah, no, it worked.
It worked, dude. It covered my mortgage.
Yep.
And I was able to cash flow the rest of the home.
Yep. I mean, it's like in a tool. And so that's like good starter grounds for people, if they can. Typically, like right now, interest rates are super low. You take out a home equity line of credit, you build an accessory structure, start cash flowing on that accessory structure, maybe pays for your mortgage, but allows you to actually go do some other things. Maybe even buy some real estate because you got an extra, 5-10 grand laying around. You don't need money though to buy real estate. I'll tell you that right now. I bought some houses with zero monies. I made some money. We do a lot of assignments right now, but we're doing some wholetailing. We're doing a little bit of everything. We're not doing flips. If I recommend this to anyone, during the COVID times, we're not taking down any residential properties right now. We're still looking commercial multifamily. We are actually going under due diligence. Hopefully, I got to submit the LOI here in the next couple of days for a 56 unit and on the west side of Michigan. So we like emerging markets. I typically focusing on the Southeast, but those are the things. I was like when I started house hacking, not once was I ever thinking, oh, a 56 unit apartment building. Now I'm like, now we're submitting LOIs on 198 units. We're submitting LOIs we took on an 80 unit. We actually went under contract for another 80 unit in South Carolina. So we have two actually under contract that we're going to due diligence. Now, do those always go to close? No. I mean, once you get in due diligence, sometimes those fall out. So you really have to. We had one fall out in Clemson already. So it's one of those things where. But was I ever thinking about that? No. Like that was a limiting belief that I had. Like, oh, I'm never. You just go through the pain. But then when you start educating,
but you didn't talk yourself out of it either. Once it came time to execute, you took the action and you made the moves. Some people talk themselves out of it. Don't let that happen. I mean, you've got so many opportunities that come across your plate every day. If you talk yourself out of it once, you're going to talk yourself out of it the next time and the next time and the next time and the next time. People ask me all the time, like, oh man, you did this event or that event or that event or the other event. And it's like, listen, I was never the smartest person there.
Yeah.
So I use that as a strength. I use that as a strength. People are always like, man, those guys, you roll with some of those like top guys, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, because I'm willing to admit I'm not there yet. But I don't let that limit me from being there and being educated by those people and learning stuff. I didn't know anything about commercial real estate. And I was hosting Tim's event. And by the end of the event, I was breaking down deals with you guys on my notepad, just like everybody else in the class. So I had gotten myself access by using my strengths to get access to information that top level insiders have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't allow myself to be, oh, you're too dumb to do this. So just sit in the hallway and act like a goofball. I mean, I tried to run the deals.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Oh, learners are earners. You got to remember that. Learners
totally.
Yeah.
So you might be a little bit of a dipstick in one area, but don't talk yourself out of leveling up in that area. Allow yourself to understand where you are, analyze where you are, and build on that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that, sometimes we see people just don't want to be bad at something. You got to be bad at something to get good at it eventually.
That's right. I was listening to a podcast.
What's wrong with that? Like, we did the house. I thought the house hacking thing was like revolutionary. I thought that was so awesome. My buddy TJ was like, that's like really a beginner thing. I'm like, I'm a beginner.
Yeah.
Okay.
We but it's the foundation, right? It's
right.
What is everything's a setup for something else too. I was on a call with like Than Merrill. He just took down they're under contract and in the process of closing on an 840,000 square feet a shopping complex, right?
A lot of square feet.
So with insane like some solid. So we're passively investing in this deal.
Is this the Michigan deal that we talked about? It's a different one.
Yeah, this one's in Tennessee. So
Matt's just dominating. I hope you guys are documenting the progress that this man's making.
We're passively investing into this into the shopping complex. They got like some solid anchor tenants, high growth area. It's the economic anchors are like Home Depot's, Targets, and then like Old Navy are the three anchor tenants within the strip. So I mean, it's just a massive complex. But they took it down for a 9 cap. It was insane. So break
it down. What is a 9 cap for somebody that doesn't know anything about what that means?
Well, it's a little bit different. So commercial multifamily, and this is just something like I had the limiting belief of I'm like shopping complexes. So, and the reason why,
because if a limiting belief, I would just say, oh, I don't understand what that means. And I'm just going to let it slide, not ask. But me controlling even myself of being like, oh, I don't get that. Break it down, because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so I'm probably maybe speaking a little out of turn here because I do know. I mean, I know more than most, better than most. That old like Tiger Woods term when he won the Masters.
You know what you're talking about, so break it down.
All right, cool. So, anyways, I wanted to experience a little bit more about shopping centers, because shopping centers are actually pretty unique in the fact that they aren't so hyper intensive, right? You don't have people living there. It's not residential. It's commercial space. So. Right. I wanted to passively invest into one. So this one came about where my partners, apartment partners, and I saw it, and we're like, yeah, I want to passively invest. I want to see what it's about. So the unique thing about shopping complexes, though, is typically if they're managed well, they're made up of triple net lease structures. And then if you have strong anchor tenants, like national anchor tenants, they come in and predominantly do majority of their build outs anyway. So you actually don't need to pay for a lot of the build out cost, which that factors in when you have a smaller, that factors into majority of your cost. But you'll get like 5 and 10 year terms. Sorry, I dropped my phone. You'll get 5 and 10 year terms or leases, where you're leasing to somebody 5-10 years at a triple net lease structure where they're covering like all your expenses. So you can imagine if you're renting out 840,000 square feet and 100% is that occupied, and you have some strong national tenants in place.
I understand now what you're saying. So like when you said Old Navy or Target or Home Depot, those people are literally renting that space from you.
They're renting the space.
Oh, that's domination.
Complex. You own the complex. Obviously a big partnership that owns the complex, but then they lease from you. They're your anchor tenants. They're not going away. They're a pretty strong base, right? The Home Depots and the Old Navies, the Targets of the world have pretty good financials in order. So then you have that, but then where's the upside, right? And when you take down a complex like that, you're not taking down a complex for a 9 cap. You're taking usually a complex like that with strong national anchor tenants 4, 5.5,
So what do you mean by 9 cap here? Is that like a term for how many dollars you spent or what?
So a 9 cap would be on the net operating income. And we've talked about this. Pat, we got to host a webinar. So we'll host a webinar.
Hey, I'm asking questions for the people that don't have an opportunity to ask questions. I'm not afraid to admit that I don't know what something means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't help the viewers if they don't have the question asked.
We'll definitely host a webinar on this because a webinar it allow us to get the intrinsics of stuff. And then if you want to layer up, I'm going to be building out some modules that you can pay for, and we can kind of walk through some of the the commercial mindset activities that you have to go through, right? And we'll do the mental space as far as preparing your mind mentally, but then kind of going in the math, and then we're in the process of hiring out the right people and the partners to actually get on our team. But to keep it in layman's terms, a 9 cap, it's inversely related with value. So the higher the cap rate, the lower the purchase price. The lower the cap rate, the higher the purchase price. The higher the cap rate, the lower the purchase price, if that makes sense. So it goes like this, right? If you're at a 9 cap, you're purchasing it for a very good deal. If you're at a 5.5 cap, you're like purchasing at a lower like NOI overall. You come over here.
So you're talking about the ratio between the net operating income and the original capital cost.
Yeah. So when you do that, it's
Wikipedia, folks. Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia. Look it up. So when you do that, right, it determines the value. So if it's a 9 cap rate, that 9 cap rate means that you are going to be getting it at like a substantially you're at a cost basis. It's a lot lower. So you're cash flowing higher. Your cash flows go up the higher your rate is. So
which is beautiful in this instance, especially.
Yeah. And then the outlier to this one, and this is where one of my mentors, right, he's very, very good at, is he's good at out parceling. So in this complex, right, not all of the space actually was occupied. I think there was about 10,000 square feet that wasn't occupied that they were utilizing as storage. And they're like, why would you ever do that? So right now they reallocated that, and those are 10,000 square feet that are going to be added back in and dropped to the bottom line. That wasn't included in the NOI, right? The net operating income is where the cost basis cap rate is.
Got it.
So when they purchased it at 9% cap rate. That 10,000 square feet goes back in and drops to the bottom line, right? So if you value it at a 10 cap or a 9 cap, that valuation, that dollar amount is going to be absorbed and put back into the net operating income. So it's going to cash flow a little bit higher.
That makes sense.
Cash flows or net operating income minus your debt service is your cash flows. So there's going to be senior debt against this. But the beauty on this one, there's even a one upside, is that they have the two things are they have a very, very solid operator in place. That it does national and specifically is hyper focused in the Southeast. So this is specifically in Tennessee. And then above and beyond it all is that they have out parceling. So out parceling is really, really key, because if there's no out parcels already there, you can actually sell the land in front of these complexes. So let's say it's made up of like 6 acres. I think it was made up of roughly around 6 or 7 acres. When you do 6 or 7 acres, you can out parcel it to other tenants. What are usually on the outside of like commercial strips, right? Restaurants. You might. I was
going to say like McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or something like that.
Like all these other out parcels that you can actually build in additional NOI. So if you do extra build outs, or maybe you even sell the land, typically you probably will hold those on and actually build the infrastructure and do like a build to suit. When you do that, you increase your bottom line, right? You do a triple net lease structure. You get some anchor tenants coming in, and then you have more value coming into that asset. So we wanted to kind of play around in that space. We wanted to learn about it a little bit more. It's a little bit less labor intensive when it comes to especially getting some like anchor tenants coming in, large national anchor tenants. So that's what we're looking into. We're just going to passively invest into that deal and see what comes out of it. We think we're going to like it. I mean, we're already investing in a much smaller one that's a little bit more labor intensive, but not as much. So we're just trying to get acclimated, get a better understanding of that space. So, commercial multifamily will be a vehicle we'll use, but then, this is another vehicle we want to take a look at to create cash flow.
Yeah, man, dude, it's awesome, man. And it's incredible the amount
I
of
hope
time
I
that you've dedicated. No, it's understandable. I mean, there's some terms that are tough. And I would encourage people to get into conversations. I literally just posted something on Twitter right before we came online. You've got to get around people that understand stuff in areas that you want to understand. Because what I've done over the last couple of years in the real estate space, while I might not have been doing deals or buying homes or doing flips, is I've surrounded myself with people with immense amounts of knowledge that I could potentially create partnerships with in the future, that I could potentially go in on deals with and create some cash flow. And so I would encourage you to surround yourself with people that are just plain better than you at terminology and stuff that you want to learn, that are experts, because those people will naturally drag you up momentum wise, because their trajectory is already in that direction. So all you have to do is kind of just follow on your raft and soak up that information like a sponge, and just put your skill sets that you're an expert at in the closet for a little bit of time each week, and allow yourself to learn what those people know. Because if you limit yourself by just saying, oh, I'll never learn it, those guys are just too smart, I don't know what 9 cap means, and it doesn't matter, I don't care, then you're limiting yourself. You're already talking yourself out of actually being a part of any kind of partnership with that. So that's why I don't feel bad asking questions or us taking a little bit of extra time, because it's important for people to understand that that's where we're going with this show, is that Matt's ultimate goal with podcasting and providing value on the internet is to create more partnerships and to create more people that he can do deals with, and find people online that he can help educate in the space. And so that's where we're going with this whole platform in the first place anyway. So we're happy to have you guys on here with us. If you ever have questions, fire Matt a message either on this page or on his personal page, and he'll get to it, because we are going to be opening up a group and going over all this stuff. So if some of you guys might even have you might think your questions are crazy. They're not. I guarantee you, I can come up with a crazier question than you can. So anyway, Matt, thank you for your time. I appreciate the breakdown. I actually learned a lot on that. I got some Wikipedia work to do with the 9 caps, but you enjoy the rest of the day. And folks, don't limit yourself. You have an unlimited learning potential if you just say, hey, listen, I don't understand this, but I want to. Boom. Now all of a sudden you're absorbing information instead of deflecting it. So it's a good lesson for everybody. Rocket Man, get those 5 million caps going.
All right, brother.
Remember bottle caps? The candy when we were kids?
Yeah, not a big fan.
Really? Yeah, some people liked them, some people didn't. I was a bottle cap fan. I think it was just they looked cool.
Big warhead.
Anyway. Warheads I couldn't do. So I get you. Those were so sour. Couldn't handle it. I was like, ooh. Anyway, speaking of caps, appreciate you, dude. We'll see you guys next time. Any questions, please message this man about your 9 caps or your deals, because he knows how to break the stuff down. He doesn't give himself enough credit sometimes. So Rocket.
All right, guys.